White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt went on a bit of a mini media tour this morning, first on Fox and then Newsmax, in a desperate attempt to spin the failing narrative surrounding Donald Trump and reverse his disastrous polling numbers as the midterms loom ever closer. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we've got a selection of clips here from her appearance on Fox and the Newsmax. We're going to start with Fox, but they go over very similar common ground. It's just important to see how desperate she is to drive this point home, especially among loyalist bases like Fox and Newsmax.
Karoline, this is the president at his best when he's on the road talking with the American people. What can we anticipate him telling the folks on the road?
Sure. Well, we greatly look forward to going to Northeast Pennsylvania tonight, and President Trump is going to give a positive, economic-focused speech where he talks about all that he and his team has done to provide bigger paychecks and lower prices for the American people. And don't forget, a year ago, President Trump inherited the worst inflation crisis in modern American history from the Biden administration, and I have watched every single day as President Trump and his tremendous economic team have been working to fix it. And they have, through a very simple economic formula, which President Trump will talk about tonight.
So again, what they're doubling down on is it's already fixed. She says they already have. They've fixed it. It's just you all are too stupid to understand it, so he's going to go persuade you. Again, the Biden administration tried a much classier attempt at this during 2024 Bidenomics. They attempted to do so. Hey, listen, here's how we've managed post-COVID inflation. Unemployment's lower than it ever was under Trump, not just overall, but for this group, this group, this group. The economy's opening back up. We have a manufacturing boom in this country, GDP growth, blah, blah. They tried all this, and they had more basis to make that claim than Trump does now. And Trump has less basis to make it, and apparently he's just going to be even more condescending about it. But this is Leavitt saying, yeah, the job's been done. He's amazing. He got it done in 10 months. Now all it relies on is getting him out there to persuade the American people. The odds are against him there. Here's another clip.
These Democrats, they are running on the word affordability. I know Donald Trump has said it's a con job because we know that they want to raise taxes on the rich, and the way they're going to do this in free grocery stores and free buses, it's not going to work. But what should Republicans be saying? What should the Republican message be to combat what the Democrats are doing?
So I just want to stop right there. So again, free grocery stores. Democrats are not running on free grocery stores. The only person who has talked about some like government subsidized grocery stores, a handful, not all of them, a handful as pilot programs, is Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, who overwhelmingly won his election. So again, you're talking about an extremely important mayorality, right? The most important mayorship in the country, but not a senator, not a congressperson, not a governor, not a presidential candidate. The idea, they're again very subtly saying, all the Democrats are following exactly Zoran Mamdani's policy prescriptions. Like, number one, that's not true. And number two, you're wildly misrepresenting those policy prescriptions. But again, you can always count on Fox to lie. Here's how Karoline Leavitt responds.
Well, the Democrats are the greatest con artists in American politics. They are pretending to champion the issue of affordability when they themselves created the worst inflation crisis in a generation. You can't create a problem and then turn around and say, I'm the best person to fix it. No.
We're going to let her finish, but just the irony of a Republican spokesperson representing Donald Trump complaining that other people are the biggest con artists in politics when you work for Donald Trump is hilarious and ironic and shameless. And also, you can't, create a problem and then say I'm the greatest person to fix it. That is the entire Republican playbook. Every economic crisis in modern history has been triggered under Republican presidents. We had, let's just go back a couple. So you had COVID inflation and the COVID economic crises created by Trump. Trump's economy was terrible in 2020 because he mismanaged COVID. Biden inherited that mess. Okay. Before that, President Obama inherited George W. Bush's mess, the Great Recession. President Clinton had to clean up President Reagan and President George H.W. Bush's mess. So modern American history has been Republicans creating a mess, Democrats coming along, getting the problem resolved, the American people getting fed up that it wasn't done quick enough and they want to change, so they give power back to the Republicans create a mess, the American people get fed up, give it over to a Democrat, and so on and so forth. Rinse and repeat. 10 out of the last 11 recessions, 10 out of the last 11 began under Republican administrations. So no, I'm sorry, this is your playbook and you're projecting.
Oh, that's why President Trump was reelected, to fix it, and that's exactly what he's doing. So as President Trump has been screaming from the rooftops, Republicans need to remain tough and smart, and they need to be more vocal about touting the accomplishments of this administration. Again, inflation has slowed because of President Trump's...
No, inflation was on its way down under Biden, still high, but the rate of inflation dropping. It stopped and started to tick upwards under Trump because of his tariffs, his inflationary tariffs and his disastrous policy. Had nothing to do with COVID, for example. He doesn't have the excuse that Biden had, like, hey, I was dealing with a global once-in-a-century pandemic which impacted the rest of the world. Trump doesn't have that excuse. All the damage has been wrought specifically by him and his disastrous policies. But again, it's just so funny. They need to be more they need to be louder about his accomplishments. Listen, I can sympathize. I get that because I still feel the same way about the Biden administration. I don't believe the facts speak for themselves. But again, it didn't work for Biden when he had the facts on his side. I don't know why you think it will work for you when you have less than facts on your side. Here's one last clip from Fox News, then we're going to jump over to Newsmax.
Talk about what Secretary of War Pete Hegseth will be briefing the Gang of Eight, select House leaders as well as Senate, about what's going on with Venezuela. So, of course, there's this pressure to release the double tap, the second hit on that drug boat. And ultimately, the president says it's up to the Secretary of War whether he should do it or not. So your thoughts about releasing that tape?
Well, how refreshing that we have a commander-in-chief who trusts our Secretary of War and trusts Pentagon leadership to do the right thing by our warfighters. And I think it speaks to the depravity of the Democrat Party that they have stooped so low. They are attacking our military leadership. They are attacking the brave men and women who conducted these strikes well within the law, following the orders from their commander-in-chief. And let's not forget, these are drug boats. These are narco-terrorists. And in 2024, the GOP platform at the Republican Party convention, written by President Trump and his team, stated that we are going to, quote, demolish foreign drug cartels. President Trump campaigned on this. He is delivering on it. And every time President Trump and Secretary Hegseth and the White House are criticized for blowing up drug boats, we are thinking about Americans like Ann Funder, who lost her 15-year-old son, Weston, to a drug overdose. We are thinking of the hundreds of thousands of Americans across the country who have been riddled by this drug crisis.
Donald Trump just pardoned a former Honduran president who was convicted of trafficking drugs into this country, hundreds of tons of drugs into this country. So you guys have no credibility when it comes to suppressing drugs. You don't give a damn. It's purely about owning the libs and killing people. That's all you care about, because if you really cared about preventing drug trafficking, you wouldn't have pardoned that asshole. You always lose the debate. You will always lose. As far as the facts go, the facts, as reported, revealed that this was either a murder or a war crime, according to national security experts who have served under both Democrat and Republican administrations. So as a bipartisan pedigree, there is no just blank check for you to vaporize suspected drug traffickers in the Caribbean. Number one, we don't know that they were. Number two, we don't trust you, so you need to put up or shut up. Number three, even if they were drug traffickers, they are entitled to due process because they're not war fighters. Number four, even if you did attack them, which you did, and then they're flipped over, capsized, and shipwrecked, both domestic and both American and humanitarian international law require you to rescue these people. You circled the wagons and killed them in cold blood when they were helpless. And then again, that assumes the very best of your argument is that they actually were drug traffickers. For all we know, they were not. We have no reason to trust you. We don't trust you, nor should we. So, sure seems like you all are committing a bunch of murder and war crime. Now let's flip over to Newsmax, okay? Because again, she basically brought the same message to Newsmax, but it's part of like doing the rounds, circling the wagons, trying to get right-wing media in lockstep with Trump as he prepares to make this case.
Gas prices are at their lowest point right now than they have been in 5 years, and we do expect them to continue to decline as long as President Trump is here to drill, baby, drill. So all of these actions are actions President Trump took to build the greatest economy in history in his first term. It is working. It takes time because, as you pointed out, Mark, President Biden left President Trump with an absolute economic mess.
You all promised that you would end this on day one. We have the quotes, we have the receipts, we played the clips. You solicited the American people's votes by saying you would get this done in one day. You have failed spectacularly. We have every right to hold you to the standards that you tried to create when you failed them so spectacularly. Number one. Number two, gas prices are 7 cents lower right now than they were this time last year. That's not enough to get the American people on your side. Again, Biden left Trump the best economy in the world despite its many faults. Trump has done nothing but make those faults even worse and has undermined the things that made the economy good under Biden. So it's the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, Caroline, on the topic of affordability, I know one of the things that upsets a lot of folks is the price of groceries. And yesterday, President Trump announced a $9 billion aid package to support our farmers, strengthen the agriculture industry. And that's not just helping our farmers. It will pass down to people at the grocery store. This is a big deal, and it's also not funded by tax dollars. It's funded by tariffs.
That's right. Yes. Yesterday, here at the White House, President Trump met with a group of great farmers from around the country and announced $12 billion in relief for them, again, funded through his successful tariffs, which have brought in billions of dollars back into our country to refuel our manufacturing industry. And now President Trump is paying that back to our agricultural industry, which is truly the backbone of.
Farmers are pissed off at Trump. They voted for Trump. They overwhelmingly supported Trump, but his tariffs have screwed American farmers, as they did in his first term. Trump triggered a trade war with China in his first term. It really hurt American farmers, so he tried to orchestrate a bailout because his trade war with China was so disastrous. Nobody learned their lessons. American farmers didn't learn their lessons. They backed Trump again. Donald Trump didn't learn his lessons. He's doubled down on a global trade war. His trade war is hurting American farmers now more than it did in his first term, and once again, he's had to turn to a bailout. The tariffs are what caused the pain in the first place. You don't get credit for, stabbing somebody and then taking the knife out, right? And actually, you don't even do that. You stab them, you're leaving the knife in because the tariffs are in effect, and you give them an Advil, right? You don't get credit for that. That's what Trump is trying to do, hoping the American people don't notice, but I suspect many of them will. One last clip.
Another huge win for our farmers following his successful meeting with President Xi in South Korea, where Trump convinced President Xi to continue purchasing or begin purchasing again American soybeans, which is something China wasn't doing under the last administration because they had no respect for our President Biden or for the country at the time. But now they know President Trump is not messing around. He's going to stand up for American farmers and American families. And so those purchases have begun from China, and American soybeans are being exported from the United States as we speak because of President Trump. He promised the farmers he would be there for them. He is delivering on that promise.
So the lies here are staggering. It's just staggering. So again, as people pointed out, Trump has decimated the farmers twice, so it remains a mystery of why they keep voting for him. So talking about soybean production and how it plummeted under Trump, but rose under Joe Biden, President Biden. So again, just lying their asses off. Hey, Carolyn, fact check, soybeans were sold to China under Biden. They declined after Trump won election and halted when he introduced his Judgment Day tariff. So again, look at these high numbers under President Biden, October 2024, and then rapidly plummeting like a rock ever since Donald Trump got elected. So again, Karoline Leavitt just objectively, flat out, unambiguously, not even like fudging the truth, fudging the numbers. No, just black and white, lying to your face as they desperately try to spin this disaster for Trump. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.